The warning lights on the bridge turned red without any sound. Captain Velthar of the Zithian exploration vessel Bright Horizon looked up from his station with 4 eyes blinking in sequence. His second officer, Kriana, was already moving her thin fingers across the scanner display. "Unknown vessel detected," Kriana said. Her voice carried the musical tone that all Zithians used when they felt uncertain. "Distance is 300,000 units. It appears to be drifting near the outer edge of the Kellis Nebula." Velthar stood from his chair. His tall frame swayed slightly as he walked to the main view screen. The ship before them looked strange. It had clean lines but showed signs of damage along the outer hull. Scorch marks ran across one side like dark fingers. "Run a full scan," Velthar ordered. "Identify the vessel's origin and classification." The bridge crew worked in silence. Zithians were naturally cautious. They had explored the galaxy for 3,000 cycles, meeting hundreds of species. Most were peaceful. Some were not. Velthar had learned to be careful with unknown contacts. Krina's body went rigid. Her skin changed from soft blue to pale white. That color meant fear. "Captain," she said slowly, "the scanning results are complete. The vessel's construction materials and energy signature match a Class 3 Deathworld designation." Every crew member on the bridge stopped moving. Velthar felt his 2 hearts beat faster. A Deathworld. He had never encountered one before. Few Scythians had. The galaxy contained billions of worlds, but only 3 had ever been classified as true Deathworlds. These were planets so hostile that life should not exist there. Yet somehow it did, and the creatures that survived such places were dangerous beyond measure. "Are you certain?" Velthar asked. "The scan has run 4 times, Kriana confirmed. All results are the same. That ship comes from a Class 3 Deathworld. The database shows no record of this specific world. The classification is new." Velthar's mind raced through his options. Galactic law required all exploration vessels to investigate unknown contacts. But Galactic law also said to avoid Deathworld species when possible. The 2 rules conflicted. "What is the vessel's status?" he asked. "It appears damaged," Kriana reported. "But it is still generating power. Life support systems are active. I detect 17 life signs aboard." "Weapons?" "The ship has weapons," Kriana said, "but they are not charged." The vessel does not appear hostile. Velthar considered this information. A damaged ship from a Deathworld. The crew inside might need help. Or they might be dangerous predators waiting for prey. His duty as an explorer told him to make contact. His survival instinct told him to leave. "Send a standard greeting," Velthar decided. "Use all known languages. See if they respond." The communications officer, a young Zithian named Pelvin, worked his console. A moment passed. Then another. Velthar began to think the damaged ship could not respond. The view screen flickered. A face appeared. Velthar had seen many species in his long career. This one was new. The creature had 2 eyes instead of 4. Its skin was tan and smooth. Hair grew from the top of its head in brown waves. When it spoke, its mouth moved to show white teeth. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the exploration vessel Pathfinder," the creature said. The words came through in perfect galactic standard. "We receive your greeting and respond with friendship." "Are you in need of assistance?" Velthar felt confusion replace his fear. The Deathworld creature spoke their language. It asked if they needed help. This was not the behavior he expected from such a dangerous species. "I am Captain Velthar of the Zithian vessel Bright Horizon," he replied carefully. "We detected your ship and noted signs of damage. Do you require aid?" The human creature named Jake Morrison smiled. Velthar did not know if this expression meant happiness or aggression. Human faces were hard to read. "We appreciate the offer," Morrison said. "We had some trouble helping a colony during an earthquake. Our outer hull took some hits from debris. Nothing serious. Our engineer is already working on repairs." An earthquake. Velthar knew the term. It meant the ground itself shook and moved. On Scythia, such events happened once every 1,000 cycles. They caused massive panic and evacuation. This human spoke of earthquakes like they were common problems. "I see," Velthar said. "Your vessel is registered as coming from a Class 3 Deathworld. Our records do not contain information about your world. Would you be willing to share cultural and scientific data? We are explorers seeking knowledge." Morrison's smile grew wider. "We would be happy to exchange information. Earth is still new to galactic exploration. We have a lot to learn. Why don't you and a few of your crew come aboard? We can talk in person. I promise we don't bite." The last statement confused Velthar. Bite? Did humans attack with their teeth? He looked at Kriana. She was checking her translation programs. "It is a joke," Kriana whispered. "The human is attempting humor. He means they will not harm us." Velthar felt less certain. Deathworld predators were clever. They used tricks to catch prey. But the humans seemed genuine. And the chance to meet a new species from a Deathworld was worth some risk. This information would be valuable to the Galactic Council. "We accept your invitation," Velthar said. "I will bring 3 crew members. When can we dock?" "Anytime you like," Morrison replied. "We will prepare docking port 7 for your arrival. Our first officer, Lisa Grant, will meet you there. Looking forward to it, Captain." The screen went dark. Velthar turned to his crew. They all looked worried. He understood their fear. But explorers had to take risks. That was the job. "Kriana, you will come with me," Velthar ordered. "Pelvin and Gentar as well. Bring full scanning equipment. I want to record everything we see. And bring weapons. Keep them hidden but ready." "Should we inform Galactic Command?" Kriana asked. Velthar thought about this. If something went wrong, Command would want to know. But sending a message now might seem hostile. The humans had been friendly so far. "Send an automated beacon," he decided. "Include our location and status. If we do not update it every hour, Command will investigate. Also, Command, 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 Command will investigate." The crew prepared for the visit. Velthar changed into his formal exploration suit. It had built-in armor and medical systems. Just in case. He checked his scanning devices twice. Then he joined his team in the shuttle bay. The small shuttle carried them across the space between the 2 ships. As they approached the Pathfinder, Velthar got a better look at the human vessel. It was smaller than the Bright Horizon but built heavier. The hull was thick metal, designed to take damage. The engines were simple, but powerful. Everything about the ship suggested strength over elegance. The shuttle docked with a soft thump. Velthar led his team through the airlock. The door opened to reveal a human woman waiting on the other side. She had dark skin and short black hair. Her eyes were brown and alert. She wore a simple uniform with no weapons visible. "Welcome aboard the Pathfinder," she said with a smile. "I am First Officer Lisa Grant. Captain Morrison is waiting in the conference room. Please follow me." Lisa turned and walked down the corridor. Velthar and his team followed. The inside of the ship was clean and well-maintained. The walls were bare metal, painted white. Signs showed directions in both human writing and galactic standard. But something felt wrong. Velthar realized what it was after a few steps. The gravity. It was too strong. Zithians evolved on a world with light gravity. This ship's gravity was at least 20% higher than comfortable. Each step took effort, yet Lisa walked normally. She did not seem to notice the crushing weight. They reached the conference room. Captain Morrison stood waiting. He was tall for a human with broad shoulders and gray hair. His face had lines around the eyes. Signs of age. Or stress. Or both. "Captain Velthar," Morrison said, extending his hand. "Welcome. Please sit. We have adjusted the chairs for Zithian physiology. Our database had some basic information." Velthar carefully touched Morrison's hand. The human grip was firm but gentle. They sat at the table. Morrison poured liquid from a container into cups. "This is water," Morrison explained. "From Earth. It is safe for most species to drink. Our medical officer checked. Velthar took a small sip. The water tasted clean. Normal. He relaxed slightly. Thank you for meeting with us, Velthar said. We have many questions about Earth and humanity. Your world is new to our records. Morrison nodded. I understand. We only achieved faster than light travel about 15 years ago. We have been exploring nearby systems since then. The Pathfinder is one of 3 human exploration ships currently active. And your crew? Velthar asked. How many humans are aboard? 17 total, Morrison replied. All veterans from the conflicts back home. Good people. Experienced. They know how to handle unexpected situations. The word veterans meant nothing to Velthar. His translator program showed it meant someone who survived military service. But he did not understand the significance. Military service was rare in the galaxy. Most species had no need for organized combat. They settled disputes with words. You mentioned conflicts, Velthar said carefully. Does Earth still experience wars? Morrison's expression changed. For a moment he looked sad. Then he smiled again. We are working on peace, he said. But it takes time. Humans have a long history of fighting. We are trying to move past that. Exploration helps. It gives us something better to focus on. Velthar did not press the question. He would learn more later. For now, he wanted to understand these strange creatures from the Deathworld. They seemed kind, friendly, but also dangerous in ways he could not yet define. The conversation continued. Morrison answered questions about Earth. He described a world of extreme weather and dangerous animals. He talked about oceans that could swallow ships and mountains that touched the sky. He spoke of these horrors with casual ease, and Velthar began to understand. These humans did not just survive a Deathworld, they thrived on it. And now they traveled the stars looking for new challenges. This was going to be an interesting exchange. The tour of the Pathfinder began after the initial meeting ended. Captain Morrison stood and gestured toward the door. Lisa Grant joined them with a datapad in her hands. I thought you might want to see how we operate, Morrison said. Lisa can show you around while I handle some reports. We run a simple ship. Nothing fancy, Velthar agreed quickly. This was exactly what he wanted. To see how Deathworld creatures lived and worked. Krina activated her recording devices. The other 2 Zithian crew members stayed close together. Lisa led them into the main corridor. The walls were lined with pipes and cables. Everything was exposed and easy to access. Scythian ships hid their systems behind panels for safety and beauty. This ship showed everything. First stop is engineering, Lisa said. Our chief engineer Danny Cross will be down there. He has been working on the hull repairs. They took a lift down 3 levels. The gravity pressed harder with each level. Velthar felt his legs shake from the effort of walking. His breathing came faster. Lisa noticed his struggle. Sorry about the gravity, she said. We keep it at Earth normal throughout the ship. Makes it easier for the crew to stay in shape. I can lower it in certain sections if you need. No, Velthar said, trying to sound strong. We will adapt. 2. Lisa smiled but said nothing. They reached engineering. The room was hot and loud. Massive engines filled most of the space. A human man was bent over an open panel. His hands worked inside the machinery without gloves. Velthar could see exposed wires and hot metal. The human showed no fear. Danny, Lisa called out. We have visitors. The man looked up. He had red hair and green eyes. His face was covered in sweat. He wiped his hands on a cloth and walked over. He was shorter than Morrison, but heavily built. Muscles showed under his uniform. Hey there, Danny said with a friendly smile. You must be our Zithian friends. Welcome to my engine room. This is Chief Engineer Danny Cross, Lisa introduced. Danny served in the Army Corps of Engineers before joining our crew. Army? Krina asked. Military branch, Danny explained. I spent 12 years keeping equipment running in places that tried their best to break it. Deserts where sand got into everything. jungles where moisture corroded circuits overnight, mountain bases where the cold froze fuel lines. You learn to improvise. End quote. He said this like it was normal. Velthar tried to imagine working in such conditions. On Scythia, engineers had clean workshops with controlled environments. The idea of repairing equipment in a desert or jungle was insane. Your engines are different from ours, Krina observed, scanning the equipment. They appear less efficient, but more durable. Danny nodded. That was intentional. Human engineering philosophy focuses on reliability over elegance. These engines can run on low-grade fuel. They can operate in extreme temperatures. They have triple redundancy on critical systems. They might not be the fastest or cleanest, but they will keep running when everything else fails. Why such emphasis on durability? Velthar asked. Danny looked at Lisa. She nodded slightly. Because on Earth, everything tries to kill you, Danny said simply. Weather changes without warning. Equipment fails at the worst times. You build things tough, or you do not survive. Same principle applies to military operations. Your transport breaks down in hostile territory. You better know how to fix it with whatever you have on hand. Krina's skin turned pale again. The casual way Danny discussed survival in hostile conditions disturbed her. Velthar understood why. Zithians avoided conflict. They solved problems through discussion and cooperation. The idea of hostile territory and military operations was foreign to their nature. Lisa continued the tour. They visited the medical bay next. A woman with blonde hair and blue eyes was organizing supplies in cabinets. She looked up when they entered. This is Dr. Kate Sullivan, Lisa said, our chief medical officer. Kate was a Navy surgeon before joining us. Kate smiled and shook hands with each Scythian. Her grip was gentle, but Velthar noticed the strength in her fingers. This was someone used to precise work under pressure. Navy surgeon, Kate explained before anyone asked. I served on ships for 8 years. Treated injuries from training accidents, combat wounds, and every kind of tropical disease you can imagine. Learned to work in rough seas, during emergencies, with limited supplies. The medical bay was small but well-equipped. Velthar recognized some of the instruments. Others were unknown. Kate showed them a scanner that could identify hundreds of different toxins and pathogens. We built this after our first away mission, Kate said. We landed on a planet that looked safe. Beautiful even. Then 3 crew members got sick from airborne spores. Nothing in our database matched it. I had to synthesize a treatment from scratch using local plants and our medical supplies. That sounds dangerous, Krina said. Kate shrugged. It was challenging. But I have treated gunshot wounds in moving helicopters and performed surgery during rocket attacks. You learn to focus on the problem and ignore the chaos around you. Velthar felt his understanding of humans shift. These were not just survivors of a death world. They were trained professionals who had faced violence and danger as part of their careers. The death world made them physically capable. Their military service made them mentally unbreakable. They met Chris Palmer next. He was the security chief. A tall man with dark skin and watchful eyes. He moved like a predator. Smooth and efficient. He stood near the armory when they found him. Chris Palmer, he introduced himself. Marine Corps, 15 years. Infantry and security specialist. The armory contained weapons. Lots of weapons. Velthar saw firearms, energy weapons, protective armor, and devices he could not identify. Everything was clean and organized, ready for immediate use. Do you expect trouble on an exploration mission? Velthar asked carefully. Chris considered the question. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That was my motto in the Marines. We are explorers, yes. But we go to unknown places. Sometimes we find friends, sometimes we find problems. Being ready for both keeps everyone safe. Have you encountered hostile species? Krina asked. A few times, Chris admitted. Pirates mostly. Raiders looking for easy targets. They usually back off when they realize we can defend ourselves. Only had to actually fight twice, Both times we disabled their ships and called local authorities. No casualties on either side. Lisa smiled at this. Chris is being modest. The second encounter involved 4 raider ships. He coordinated our defense perfectly. The raiders surrendered in less than 10 minutes. Chris looked uncomfortable with the praise. Just doing the job. They returned to the conference room. Captain Morrison was waiting with drinks and food. He had arranged several options suitable for Scythian digestion. I hope the tour was informative, Morrison said. Please, sit, eat, ask any questions you have. Velthar sat carefully. His body ached from walking in the heavy gravity. Morrison noticed but said nothing. They ate in silence for a moment. The food was simple but good. Captain Morrison, Velthar began, I must ask about something that confuses me. You said your crew are all veterans, that they served in conflicts. But you also say humans are explorers seeking peace. How do these ideas work together? Morrison set down his cup. His expression became serious. That is a fair question, he said. Let me explain Earth's history. Humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. Over land, resources, beliefs, power, every reason you can imagine. We got very good at warfare, maybe too good. About 50 years ago, we nearly destroyed ourselves with nuclear weapons. That scared us, made us realize we needed to change. He paused and looked at each Scythian. We are still working on that change. Earth is mostly at peace now, but we have millions of veterans. People who trained for war and then found themselves without a war to fight. Some struggled to adapt to civilian life. The exploration program gave us a purpose, a way to use our skills for something positive, Lisa added to the explanation. Every person on this crew volunteered for exploration specifically because we wanted something different. We know how to handle danger because we trained for combat, but we choose to handle it peacefully when possible. Our experience makes us capable. Our choice makes us explorers. Velthar absorbed this information. On Zythia, the concept of millions of trained warriors was horrifying. But he began to understand the human perspective. They did not celebrate violence. They tried to move beyond it. The veterans were not dangerous because they wanted to fight. They were dangerous because they could fight if needed. But they preferred not to. How many conflicts has Earth experienced? Krina asked quietly. Morrison looked at Lisa. They both seemed to be calculating. Hundreds, Morrison finally said. Maybe thousands if you count every local conflict and civil war. 2 major global wars in the last century alone. Millions died. We learned hard lessons. The Scythians sat in shocked silence. Velthar's species had experienced 1 war in their entire recorded history. It lasted 3 months and ended with a peace treaty. The idea of hundreds of wars was beyond comprehension. But you survive, Velthar said slowly. You learn. You adapt. This is why you can explore the galaxy. You have already faced the worst possible situations. Morrison nodded. That is one way to look at it. Earth prepared us for anything. Not because we wanted that preparation, but because we had no choice. Now we use that preparation to explore and learn, to help other species, to be more than just warriors from a Deathworld. Your ship reflects this, Krina observed. Built tough like your world. Crewed by veterans like your military. But used for exploration like your hopes. Exactly, Lisa said with approval. The Pathfinder is a symbol of what we want to become. Strong enough to handle problems, smart enough to avoid them, brave enough to explore the unknown. They talked for another hour. Morrison shared stories of human exploration missions. They had discovered 6 new species, mapped 14 systems, helped colonies during natural disasters, negotiated trade agreements, all without firing weapons in aggression. But Velthar noticed something in the stories, the casual way humans described dangerous situations. Lisa talked about landing on a planet with active volcanoes like it was a routine survey. Morrison mentioned rescuing miners from a collapsing asteroid with the same tone others might use to describe a simple cargo delivery. These humans had no fear. Or rather, they had fear but ignored it. They walked into danger because someone needed help. They faced unknown threats because exploration required it. Their Deathworld had made them strong. Their wars had made them capable. Their choice to explore had given them purpose. Captain Velthar, Morrison said as the meeting ended. I hope this exchange has been helpful. We look forward to working with the Exithian Exploration Fleet. The galaxy is big. There is room for all of us to explore and learn together. Velthar stood slowly. His legs still ached from the gravity. This has been very informative, he said honestly. I will report to the Galactic Council about humanity. I believe Earth should be welcomed into the galactic community. You have much to offer, Morrison smiled. We appreciate that. And if you ever need assistance, call us. Veterans stick together. Even across species, they said their goodbyes. Velthar and his team returned to their shuttle. Once safely back on the bright horizon, Velthar went directly to his quarters. He needed to think. Kriana found him there an hour later. Captain, she said softly. I have completed analysis of our scans and recordings. The humans are extraordinary. Their physical capabilities exceed most known species. Their psychological resilience is off our measurement scales. Their technology is primitive by our standards, but incredibly robust. I know, Velthar replied. What troubles me is how casually they discussed violence and danger. They spoke of wars and conflicts like we discuss weather patterns, because to them, it is normal. Kriana said. They evolved in a world of constant threat. They built civilizations despite that threat. They learned to fight, to survive, and now they choose to explore instead of conquer. I find that remarkable. Velthar had to agree. Humanity was dangerous. But they were also noble. They could destroy but chose to create. They could conquer but chose to cooperate. That made them the most interesting species he had ever encountered, and the most terrifying. The alarm caught everyone by surprise. Velthar was in his command chair reviewing the data from the human encounter when the sensors detected new contacts. 3 ships appeared on the edge of scanner range. They were moving fast and heading directly toward both the bright horizon and the Pathfinder. Identify those vessels, Velthar ordered. His tactical officer worked quickly. The answer came back within seconds. The color drained from the officer's face. Kragnoth Raider ships, the officer reported. 3 contacts confirmed. Heavy weapons signatures. They are on an intercept course. Velthar felt his heart sink. The Kragnoth were known throughout this sector. Pirates who preyed on exploration and trading vessels. They were brutal and efficient. They took cargo and prisoners. Ships that resisted were destroyed without mercy. Raise shields, Velthar commanded. Charge weapons. Send a distress call to Galactic Command. But he knew the truth. The Bright Horizon was a science vessel. It had light defensive shields and a few basic weapons. Against 3 Kragnoth raiders, they had no chance. Their only hope was to run. But the raiders were faster. Captain, Kriana said urgently, should we warn the humans? Velthar had forgotten about the Pathfinder. The human ship was still nearby. They would be a target too. He opened a communication channel. Pathfinder, this is Velthar. We have detected 3 Kragnoth raider vessels approaching. You should prepare to flee. We will try to delay them. The response came immediately. Captain Morrison appeared on the view screen. He looked calm, too calm for someone facing pirates. We see them on our sensors, Morrison said. Thanks for the warning. How about you move your ship behind ours? We can provide better cover. Velthar stared at the screen in disbelief. The human ship was damaged. It was smaller than the Bright Horizon. It was an exploration vessel just like them. How could it provide cover against 3 Kragnoth raiders? Captain Morrison, Velthar said carefully. I appreciate the offer. But your ship appears damaged. You should flee while you can. We will hold them off as long as possible. Morrison smiled. That strange human expression that could mean many things. Our damage is cosmetic, Morrison replied. We helped a colony during an earthquake last week. Some buildings collapsed near us. Debris hit the outer hull, made some ugly marks but did not affect our systems. We are fully operational. Debris. Before Velthar could respond, a new voice came through the communication channel. A woman's voice. Sharp and professional. Captain, this is Beth Walker in communications. I am intercepting the Kragnoth transmissions. They have identified both our ships as targets. They are coordinating an attack pattern. Estimated time to weapons range is 8 minutes. Morrison nodded. Thanks, Beth. Keep monitoring. Let me know if they say anything interesting. He turned his attention back to Velthar. Captain, please trust me. Move your ship behind ours. We have handled situations like this before. Velthar wanted to argue, but something in Morrison's voice stopped him. The human was not scared. He was not desperate. He was calm and confident, like he had done this many times before. Very well, Velthar agreed. We will move to your position. The bright horizon adjusted course. Within minutes they were positioned behind the Pathfinder. The human ship stood between them and the approaching raiders. Velthar watched his sensors carefully. The Kragnoth ships were getting closer. Captain, Krina whispered. What are the humans planning? I do not know, Velthar admitted. But I want to see. On the Pathfinder's bridge, the crew moved with practiced efficiency. Morrison stood at the center of the command deck. Around him, humans worked their stations with calm focus. Tony, status report, Morrison said. A young man at the tactical station responded immediately. Tony Chen had short black hair and quick hands. His eyes never left his displays. 3 Kragnoth vessels confirmed, Tony reported. Standard raider class. Heavy plasma cannons. Torpedo launchers. Shield strength is moderate. They are moving in a triangle formation. Classic pirate attack pattern. Weapons status? All systems ready. Shields at full power. Point defense active. We have a full load of countermeasures. Morrison nodded. Beth, try hailing them. Let us see if they want to talk. Beth Walker sat at the communications station. She had brown hair pulled back in a tight style. Her fingers moved across her console with practiced ease. She had been a signals specialist in the Navy before joining the Pathfinder. Channel open, Beth confirmed, sending standard greeting. A face appeared on the main view screen. It was not human or Zithian. The creature had gray skin and sharp teeth. Multiple eyes glowed red. This was a Kragnoth. The species had a reputation for cruelty. I am Captain Rick's Corps, the Kragnoth snarled. You are in our territory. Surrender your ships and cargo. We will take prisoners for ransom. Resist, and we will destroy you. Morrison stepped forward. His expression remained calm, almost friendly. Captain Rick's Corps. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the exploration vessel Pathfinder. We are on a peaceful mission. We have no cargo of value. I suggest you continue on your way. There is no profit here for you. Rick's Corps' laugh was like metal scraping metal. A human, the Kragnoth said with amusement. I have heard of your species. New to the galaxy. Weak explorers from a backward world. You think you can threaten us with words? Not threatening, Morrison replied politely. Just offering friendly advice. Leave peacefully. Nobody needs to get hurt. You hide behind that damaged hull like it will protect you. Rick's Corps mocked. Your weapons are old. Your shields are weak. We have raided hundreds of ships. You are no different. Morrison's smile faded slightly. His voice remained calm, but something changed in his tone. Velthar, watching from the bright horizon, recognized it. This was the voice of someone who had given warnings before, someone who knew what came next if the warnings were ignored. Captain Rick's Corps, I am giving you one chance. Turn around, leave this sector. Find easier targets somewhere else. Or what? Rick's Corps demanded. You will run? You will beg? Surrender now, and I promise quick deaths for your crew. Morrison looked at his crew. They looked back at him. No fear showed on any human face. They were waiting. Beth, close the channel, Morrison ordered. Tony, battle stations. Chris, prepare boarding countermeasures. Danny, I need full power to shields and weapons. The responses came instantly. Channel closed. Battle stations active. Boarding countermeasures ready. You have full power, Captain. On the bright horizon, Velthar watched in amazement. The human crew moved like they were one organism. Each person knew their role. There was no panic, no hesitation. Just smooth, professional action. Krina, Velthar said quietly. Monitor the human ship closely. Record everything. Krina was already scanning. What she saw confused her. Captain, the human biometric readings are strange. Their heart rates are decreasing. Their stress hormones are dropping. This is the opposite of normal responses to danger. Velthar understood what this meant. Humans did not fear the coming battle. They were trained for it. Their bodies were preparing to fight the way a Zithian body might prepare to rest. This was their natural state. Morrison opened a channel to the bright horizon. Captain Velthar, stay behind us. Keep your shields up. This might get rough, but we will handle it. Captain Morrison, Velthar said. There are 3 of them. Are you certain you can fight 3 Kragnoth raiders? Morrison's smile returned. But this smile was different. Harder. It reminded Velthar that humans came from a Deathworld. That they were predators who chose to be peaceful. But they still remembered how to hunt. Captain, my crew are all combat veterans. We have trained for situations much worse than 3 pirates in old ships. Just watch and learn. The Kragnoth vessels opened fire. Plasma bolts and torpedoes streaked across space. Velthar expected the Pathfinder to be destroyed in seconds. But the human ship did not even move. The weapons hit the Pathfinder's shields. Energy flared bright, then faded. The shields held without strain. Tony called out the report. Shields at 97%. No damage. Their weapons are weaker than expected. Morrison nodded. That is because our shields are built for atmospheric entry on a Deathworld. Plasma fire is nothing compared to the friction and heat of entering Earth's atmosphere at high speed. He turned to Tony. Return fire. Target their shield generators. Disable. Do not destroy. Yes, sir. The Pathfinder responded. Human weapons fired with precision, not the scattered spray of desperate defense. Calculated shots aimed at specific targets. The first Kragnoth ship's shields flickered and died in seconds. Rixkor's voice came through the communication channel again. This time he sounded less confident. Impossible. Your weapons should not be that powerful. Beth answered before Morrison could speak. Our weapons are designed to work in all conditions, she explained calmly. Vacuum of space, thick atmospheres, electromagnetic storms. Earth has all of these. We build equipment that functions anywhere. The second Kragnoth ship tried evasive maneuvers. But Tony tracked it easily. More weapons fire. More precise hits. The second ship's shields collapsed. Inside the Pathfinder, Chris Palmer worked his station. He was coordinating defensive positions in case the Kragnoth tried boarding actions. But he knew they would not. Pirates were predators. They attacked weak targets. When targets fought back effectively, pirates ran. Danny called from engineering. Captain, all systems running smooth. Power output is stable. We can maintain this all day if needed. Morrison appreciated the update but expected nothing less. Danny had kept equipment running in desert heat and Arctic cold. A simple space battle was easy by comparison. Kate stood ready in the medical bay. But she knew there would be no casualties. Not on the Pathfinder. The crew was too good. The ship was too strong. This was not a real fight. This was a training exercise against opponents who did not know they were outmatched. The third Kragnoth ship stopped advancing. Velthar saw it on his sensors. The raider was retreating. Running away. The other 2 ships followed. Morrison opened a channel to all 3 Kragnoth vessels. Captain Rixkor, this is your final warning. Leave this sector. If you attack civilian ships again, we will find you. And next time we will not be so gentle. There was silence. Then Rixkor responded. His voice carried fear now. What are you? No exploration vessel fights like this. Morrison's expression softened slightly. We are explorers, he said. But we are also veterans from Earth. A Class 3 Deathworld. We spent years training to survive the worst situations imaginable. 3 pirates in standard ships do not even rank in our top 100 dangerous encounters. He paused to let that sink in. Now leave, while you still can. The Kragnoth ships turned and fled. They jumped to faster than light speed as soon as they were clear. Within minutes they were gone from the sensors. The Pathfinder's crew relaxed. But again, Velthar noticed how casual their relaxation was. They did not celebrate victory. They did not express relief at survival. They simply returned to their normal duties like nothing important had happened. Morrison contacted the Bright Horizon. Captain Velthar, the threat is gone. Are you and your crew unharmed? Velthar tried to find words. His translator struggled to express what he felt. Awe, fear, respect, confusion, all mixed together. We are fine, he finally managed. Captain Morrison, that was remarkable. You defeated 3 raiders without suffering any damage. We disabled 3 raiders, Morrison corrected gently. We could have destroyed them. But that seemed excessive. They will think twice before attacking civilians again. That is enough. Velthar understood the distinction. Humans could kill, but they chose not to. Even when attacked, even when justified. They showed mercy because that was who they wanted to be. I must update my report to Galactic Command, Velthar said. They need to know about human capabilities, about what it means when a species comes from a death world and has a military history. Morrison nodded. I understand. Tell them the truth. Tell them we are dangerous when we need to be. But also tell them we prefer peace. We choose exploration over conquest. We protect the innocent instead of preying on them. I will, Velthar promised. The communication ended. Velthar sat in his command chair thinking. He had just witnessed something historic. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity was more than just another species. They were warriors who chose to be explorers, protectors who preferred peace, predators who showed mercy, and the galaxy would never be the same. The silence after the battle felt strange to Velthar. The Kragnoth ships were gone. The immediate danger had passed, but the Zithian captain could not stop his hearts from racing. His crew sat at their stations in shocked stillness. They had just witnessed something that should not have been possible. On the Pathfinder, the human crew was already moving to the next task. Velthar watched through the communication link that Morrison had kept open. Chris, take a team and scan the area, Morrison ordered. Make sure the Kragnoth did not leave any surprises. Mines, probes, anything that could cause problems. Chris Palmer stood from his security station. He moved with the same calm efficiency he had shown throughout the battle. Already on it, Captain, Chris replied. I have drones deploying now. Full sweep will take about 15 minutes. Velthar listened to this exchange with growing confusion. The humans had just fought off 3 pirate vessels. Should they not be celebrating? Or at least resting? Instead, they immediately moved to secure the area, like this was routine procedure. Danny, status report on the ship, Morrison continued. The chief engineer's voice came through the internal communication system. All systems green, Captain. Shields took some hits, but nothing serious. Power output is stable. Hull integrity is 100%. We can continue operations without any repairs needed. Morrison nodded in satisfaction. Good work. Keep monitoring. Let me know if anything changes. He turned to Tony at Tactical. Analysis of the engagement? Tony brought up data on his display. Numbers and graphics showed the battle from a tactical perspective. The Kragnoth used standard pirate tactics, Tony reported. Triangle formation for crossfire. Concentrated fire on what they thought was our weakest point. They expected our shields to fail quickly. When that did not happen, they lost cohesion. Fear replaced strategy. Their weapons? Morrison asked. Older models, effective against civilian ships with light shielding. But our shields are rated for atmospheric entry forces. Plasma fire at that intensity was barely a concern. If they had brought military-grade weapons, it might have been more challenging. Morrison considered this. How much more challenging? Tony ran some calculations. Military-grade Kragnoth weapons would have brought our shields down to maybe 80%. Still well within safety margins. We would have needed to be more aggressive with countermeasures. Maybe returned fire at higher intensity. Velthar listened to this analysis with disbelief. The humans were discussing the battle like it was a training exercise. They were critiquing their own performance and looking for improvements. The Kragnoth had attacked with intent to kill or capture. Yet the humans treated it as a learning opportunity. Krina was scanning the Pathfinder continuously. She turned to Velthar with wide eyes. "Captain, I am detecting something unusual. The humans' stress levels are actually lower now than before the battle. Their biochemistry shows they are more relaxed." "That makes no sense," Velthar said. "Unless combat is their natural state," Krina suggested quietly. "What if fighting is when they feel most comfortable? Most in control?" The idea disturbed Velthar deeply. But it explained what he had witnessed. The humans did not fear battle. They understood it. They had trained for it their entire careers. Combat was familiar territory. Morrison contacted the Bright Horizon again. "Captain Velthar? Would you and your officers like to come aboard again? I think we should discuss what just happened. You probably have questions." Velthar definitely had questions. He agreed immediately. Within 30 minutes, he and his team were back on the Pathfinder. They met Morrison in the conference room again. This time Lisa, Danny, Kate, Chris, Tony, and Beth joined them. The entire command crew was present. "I want to apologize," Morrison began. "We did not mean to frighten you. But when the Kragnoth attacked, we had to respond. Letting them hurt anyone was not an option." "You did not just respond," Velthar said carefully. "You dominated them completely. 3 ships fled from 1. How is that possible?" Morrison looked at his crew. They looked back at him. Some silent communication passed between them. Finally, Lisa spoke. "Captain Velthar, we need to explain something about human military training. What you saw today was not us at full capability. That was us being gentle." "Gentle?" Krina repeated in disbelief. Chris leaned forward. "We disabled their shields with precision fire. We could have destroyed their weapon systems. Or their engines. Or their life support. We chose the option that ended the threat with minimum harm." "But why?" Velthar asked. "They attacked you. They threatened to kill you." Kate answered this time. "Because we are not fighting a war. We are exploring space. Those pirates made a mistake. They thought we were easy targets. We corrected their mistake and let them leave. Killing them would serve no purpose." Danny added his perspective. "In the military, you learn rules of engagement. Use appropriate force for the situation. Do not escalate unnecessarily. Protect yourself and others, but do not cause harm beyond what the mission requires." Those pirates were scared criminals, not enemy soldiers. They deserved to live. Velthar tried to process this. The humans had overwhelming power. They could have killed their attackers easily. But they chose mercy instead. Not because they were weak. Because they were disciplined. "Tell me about your military training," Velthar requested. "Help me understand." The humans exchanged glances. Morrison nodded permission. Tony spoke first. "I served in the Air Force for 10 years. Fighter pilot. I flew missions in 3 different conflicts. Combat air patrol. Ground support. Reconnaissance. I learned to make split-second decisions while traveling faster than sound. Today's engagement was slow by comparison." Beth continued. "Navy communications specialist. 8 years. I coordinated fleet movements during joint operations. Managed information flow between dozens of ships while under enemy fire. Intercepting Kragnoth communications was simple. They were not even trying to encrypt their signals." Chris straightened in his chair. "Marines. 15 years. Infantry combat in urban environments. desert warfare, jungle operations. I have fought enemies who knew the terrain better than me, who had superior numbers, who were desperate enough to use any tactic to win. The Kragnoth were amateurs by comparison. Danny took his turn. Army Corps of Engineers. 12 years. I kept vehicles running during sandstorms. Repaired bridges under enemy fire. Built fortifications in frozen mountains. Today I just monitored systems while sitting in a comfortable chair. Not even a challenge. Kate finished. Navy surgeon. 8 years. I have performed surgery in field hospitals during artillery bombardment. Treated mass casualties from chemical attacks. Saved lives, while our position was being overrun. Today I stood ready in a clean medical bay with every supply I could want. Nobody got hurt. It was the easiest day of my career. Lisa had not shared her background yet. She looked at Velthar directly. Army Intelligence Officer. 14 years. I analyzed enemy capabilities. Predicted their movements. Planned operations that saved thousands of lives. I also planned operations that took enemy lives when necessary. What you saw today was a simple tactical problem with an obvious solution. Disable the threat. Preserve life. Move forward. Morrison waited for his crew to finish. Then he spoke. I was Army Infantry. 22 years. I led soldiers in every kind of combat you can imagine. Urban, rural, mountain, desert, jungle. I have fought in snow and heat, day and night. Against enemies with better weapons and enemies with nothing but determination. I have seen the best and worst of human nature. He paused, his expression becoming distant. I have also seen what happens when violence goes too far. When mercy is forgotten. When the mission becomes more important than the people. That is why I choose exploration now. Why we all do. We know how to fight. We are very good at it. But we also know the cost of fighting. So we only fight when we must. And even then, we fight with honor. The conference room was quiet. Velthar felt like he was seeing humans clearly for the first time. They were not peaceful because they were weak. They were peaceful because they understood violence so well that they rejected it. How common is military service on Earth? Krina asked softly. Currently, about 1% of our population serves in the military, Morrison replied. But Earth has had military forces for thousands of years. Millions of people have served. Every family has someone who fought in some conflict. War shaped our history. And now? Velthar asked. Now we try to move beyond that history, Lisa said. We still train soldiers because threats exist. But we focus more on defense than conquest. More on peace than war. Exploration programs like this one give veterans a new purpose. A way to use our skills for discovery instead of destruction. Tony pulled up a display. It showed Earth from space. The blue and green planet looked beautiful. Peaceful. This is our home, Tony said. It does not look like a death world from space. But down there, nature tries to kill you every day. Storms that can destroy cities. Earthquakes that split the ground. Volcanoes that bury whole regions in ash. Animals that see humans as food. We evolved to survive all of that. Then we fought each other on top of natural threats. Beth added. The galaxy classifies Earth as Class 3 Death World, based on environmental factors. But that classification misses half the story. Humans made Earth even more dangerous through warfare. We became the apex predator on our own world. Then we nearly destroyed ourselves with nuclear weapons. But you survived, Krina observed. We survived, Morrison confirmed. And we learned. We created global treaties. Reduced our weapons. Started working together instead of against each other. It is not perfect. We still have conflicts. But we are trying. Chris stood and walked to the window. He looked out at the stars. Out here, we have a chance to be better, he said. Earth's history does not have to be our future. We can explore. We can help. We can build instead of destroy. That is what the Pathfinder represents. Veterans choosing a different path. Velthar stood as well. He joined Chris at the window. Your species frightens me, Velthar admitted honestly. Your capabilities are beyond what most of the galaxy understands. You could conquer if you wanted. Dominate through force. We could, Morrison agreed. But we do not want to. Conquest is empty. It creates enemies and suffering. We tried that path for thousands of years. It led nowhere good. So you explore instead, Velthar said. We explore instead, Morrison confirmed. We seek knowledge, understanding, partnership with other species. We want to contribute to the galactic community, not as conquerors, as friends. Lisa came to stand beside them. Today you saw a tiny fraction of human military capability, she said. We showed you defensive action against pirates. If you want to understand true human warfare, imagine thousands of ships, millions of soldiers, weapons that can destroy planets, strategies that span years, resources devoted entirely to conflict. She gestured to the crew around them. Every person on this ship comes from that background. We know war intimately. That is exactly why we choose peace. We have seen enough destruction. Now we want to create, to discover, to help build a better galaxy. Velthar made a decision. He turned to Morrison and extended his hand in the human gesture of friendship. The Scythian Exploration Council will welcome humanity as partners, he said. We will share our knowledge and learn from yours. Your strength makes us nervous. But your choice to use that strength wisely gives us hope. Morrison shook his hand firmly. That is all we ask, he said. A chance to prove ourselves. To show that Deathworld species can be more than dangerous. We can be protectors, explorers, friends. The meeting continued for another hour. The humans shared details of their exploration missions, the places they had seen, the species they had met, the problems they had solved without violence. They also shared stories of Earth, of the beauty hidden within the danger, of oceans and mountains and forests, of cities where billions lived in relative peace, of art and music and culture that thrived despite the planet's hostility. Velthar began to understand something important. Earth had made humans capable of surviving anywhere, but humans had made themselves capable of more than survival. They could think, create, dream, choose their own path. As the Zithian delegation prepared to return to their ship, Morrison walked them to the docking port. Safe travels, Captain Velthar, Morrison said. If you ever need assistance, call us. Veterans help each other. Always. I will remember, Velthar promised. And I will make sure the galaxy knows the truth about humanity. You are dangerous, but you are also noble. The galaxy needs both. Morrison smiled. That is a fair assessment. We will accept it. The Zithians returned to the bright horizon. As their ship prepared to depart, Velthar watched the Pathfinder through the view screen. The human vessel looked small and damaged from the outside, but he knew the truth now. Inside that ship were 17 veterans from a Deathworld. People who had survived the worst their home planet and their own species could create. People who chose to explore rather than conquer, to protect rather than destroy. The galaxy was about to meet humanity, and nothing would ever be the same. 3 days passed after the encounter with the Kragnoth pirates. The bright horizon remained near the Pathfinder during that time. Velthar told his superiors that he needed more data on the human vessel for his report. This was true. But the real reason was that he wanted to understand humanity better before they spread across the galaxy. Morrison invited the Zithian crew for daily meetings. Sometimes they discussed technical matters, ship designs, navigation techniques, scanner calibration. Other times they simply talked, shared stories, learned about each other's cultures. Velthar found himself enjoying these conversations. The humans were friendly once you got past their intimidating capabilities. They laughed easily. They asked questions with genuine curiosity. They treated the Zithians as equals despite the vast difference in combat ability. On the third day, Morrison invited Velthar to observe the crew during normal operations. The Zithian captain accepted eagerly. He wanted to see how veterans functioned when they were not facing danger. The morning started in the mess hall. Velthar arrived to find the entire crew eating breakfast together. This surprised him. On Zithian ships, ranks ate separately. Officers had their own dining area. Crew members had theirs, but here, everyone sat at the same tables. "Morning, Captain," Danny called out. He was sitting with Kate and Beth. All three had plates of food that looked too heavy for a healthy meal. "Want some coffee?" "Fair warning, it is strong enough to wake the dead." Velthar accepted a small cup. The liquid was black and smelled sharp. He took a careful sip. The taste was bitter but interesting, and Danny was right. He could feel his mind becoming more alert immediately. "We drink this every morning," Kate explained. Military tradition. Coffee keeps you going when sleep is not an option. Some of us are more addicted than others. Danny raised his cup. "Guilty as charged. I once stayed awake for 72 hours straight during a deployment. Coffee and pure stubbornness kept me functional." "Why would you need to stay awake so long?" Velthar asked. "Equipment failures during a combat operation," Danny replied simply. "We needed our vehicles running, or people would die. So I kept them running. Slept for 16 hours straight when we finally got relieved." He said this like it was normal. Velthar was learning that humans had a very different definition of normal than most species. Lisa joined them at the table. She carried a data pad and looked alert despite the early hour. "Morning briefing in 10 minutes, she announced. "We received a message from Galactic Command. They want a full report on the Kragnoth incident. Also, 3 more exploration vessels have requested to meet with us. Word is spreading about the encounter." Morrison appeared from the kitchen area. He was carrying his own coffee cup. "Let them spread the word," he said. "Better that other species know humans can defend themselves. Might prevent future problems, or it might make some species nervous," Lisa pointed out. Morrison nodded. "True, but honest communication is better than secrets. We will be straightforward about our capabilities and our intentions. Let the galaxy decide how to respond." The morning briefing took place on the bridge. The entire crew attended. Morrison stood at the center while each department gave updates. Tony reported on sensor data. They had detected 2 more ships in the region since the Kragnoth left. Both maintained safe distances. Both sent polite greeting signals. Both seemed curious but cautious. Beth shared communication logs. 7 different species had sent messages asking about the Pathfinder. Most wanted to know about Earth. Some asked about human technology. A few inquired about establishing diplomatic relations. Chris gave his security update. The area was clear of threats. No unusual activity detected. All defensive systems operating normally. Crew readiness was at 100%. Danny reported on engineering. All repairs from the earthquake assistance mission were complete. The hull damage was fixed. Power systems were optimized. The ship was ready for extended operations. Kate had nothing to report from medical. Nobody was sick or injured. The crew was healthy and fit. She sounded almost disappointed at having nothing to do. Velthar watched this briefing with fascination. Every human spoke with confidence and precision. They knew their jobs perfectly. They worked together like parts of a machine. But unlike a machine, they also showed personality, humor, friendship. After the briefing, Morrison took Velthar to the observation deck. Large windows showed the stars outside. The view was beautiful. "I wanted to talk to you privately," Morrison said. "About what happens next." "Next?" Velthar asked. Morrison gestured at the stars. "Humanity is expanding into the galaxy. We have 3 exploration ships now. Plans for 10 more within 5 years. Earth is building a proper space fleet, not military ships. Exploration vessels, cargo haulers, colony transports. We want to be part of the galactic community." "That is good," Velthar said. "The galaxy benefits from new members, but some species will fear us," Morrison continued. "They will see Deathworld warriors and expect conquest. They will remember their own histories of stronger species dominating weaker ones. How do we convince them we are different? Velthar considered the question carefully. You show them exactly what you showed me, he finally answered. You demonstrate your strength honestly. Then you show restraint, mercy, honor. You prove through actions that humans choose peace over war. Morrison smiled. That is our plan. But it will take time. Decades. Maybe centuries. Building trust is slower than building ships. Your crew can help with that, Velthar suggested. They are perfect ambassadors. Veterans who chose exploration. Warriors who protect instead of attack. Send them to meet other species. Let the galaxy see what human veterans actually believe in. We were thinking the same thing, Morrison agreed. Each of our exploration ships has a veteran crew, all volunteers who wanted something different after military service. We represent the future Earth is trying to build. A call came through Morrison's communication device. It was Beth. Captain, we have an incoming priority message from Earth Command. They want to speak with you immediately. Morrison and Velthar returned to the bridge. The view screen activated to show a human woman in a formal uniform. She had gray hair and stern features. But her eyes showed warmth when she saw Morrison. Captain Morrison, this is Admiral Patricia Hayes. I have read your report on the Kragnoth incident. Impressive work. Thank you, Admiral, Morrison replied. My crew performed excellently as always. I am not just talking about the tactical response, Hayes continued. I am talking about your restraint. You could have destroyed those pirates. Instead, you disabled them and let them flee. That shows the kind of discipline we want, representing humanity in space. Morrison nodded. We all agreed it was the right choice, ma'am. They were criminals, not enemy soldiers. They deserved a second chance. Hayes smiled. That attitude is exactly why I approved you for the exploration program. Now, I have new orders for you. Galactic Command has requested a formal meeting with human representatives. They want to discuss Earth's integration into the galactic community. I am sending you to represent us. Morrison looked surprised. Me? Surely there are better diplomats available. You are exactly what we need, Hayes insisted. A veteran who understands both war and peace. Someone who has proven humanity's good intentions through actions. The Galactic Council specifically requested to meet the crew of the Pathfinder after hearing about your encounter. She glanced at something off-screen. I am also promoting you to ambassador status. You will retain command of the Pathfinder, but will also serve as Earth's primary representative to the Galactic Council. Congratulations, Ambassador Morrison. Morrison stood straighter. I am honored, Admiral. My crew and I will do our best to represent Earth well. I know you will, Hayes said. Earth Command out. The screen went dark. Morrison turned to find his entire crew staring at him. Then they started clapping. Humans showed approval through applause. The sound filled the bridge. Speech, Danny called out. The ambassador needs to give a speech. Morrison laughed. I am not giving a speech. We have work to do. Lisa, plot a course to Galactic Council headquarters. Beth, send confirmation to Earth Command and to Captain Velthar's superiors. Tony, make sure our diplomatic database is updated. Everyone else, prepare for formal first contact protocols. The crew moved immediately. But they were smiling. This was an important moment for humanity, and they would be part of it. Velthar approached Morrison. Congratulations, Ambassador, he said. I think Earth made an excellent choice. Thank you, Morrison replied. I hope the Galactic Council agrees. This is new territory for all of us. You will do well, Velthar assured him. You have already shown the key qualities. Strength without arrogance. Mercy without weakness. Honesty without aggression. The Council will respect that. Over the next few hours, both ships prepared to depart. The Bright Horizon would travel to Zithian space to deliver Velthar's report. The Pathfinder would head to Galactic Council headquarters for the formal meeting. Before they parted, Velthar requested one final conversation with the human crew. They gathered in the conference room one last time. "I want to thank you," Velthar began. "When we first met, I was terrified. A Class 3 Deathworld species. Veterans from military conflicts. Everything my training told me to avoid. But you showed me something I did not expect." He looked at each human in turn. "You showed me that strength and kindness can exist together. That warriors can choose peace. That dangerous capability does not require dangerous intentions. You changed how I think about Deathworld species, how I think about veterans, how I think about humanity." Krina stepped forward. She had been quiet during most of the visit, but now she spoke. "I have updated our database classification for Earth," she said. "Class 3 Deathworld status remains accurate for environmental factors. But I added new categories. Humanity is now also classified as Protector Species, Explorer Species, and Potential Galactic Leader Species." The humans looked at each other in surprise. "Potential leader?" Morrison asked. "Your species is young," Krina explained. "You have only been in space for 15 years. But you have already demonstrated qualities that take other species centuries to develop. Combat capability combined with diplomatic restraint, technological innovation combined with ethical consideration, individual strength combined with cooperative mindset. These are leadership qualities." She pulled up data on her pad. "The galaxy has thousands of species. Most are peaceful but passive. They avoid conflict through weakness rather than choice. A few are aggressive and dominate through force. Humanity is different. You can fight, but choose not to. That makes you potential mediators, potential peacekeepers, potential leaders in a galaxy that needs both strength and wisdom." Velthar agreed. "The Zithian Council will recommend humanity for provisional membership in the Galactic Council. Normally this process takes decades, but your actions have proven you are ready for responsibility." Morrison stood and walked to the window. He was quiet for a long moment. "That is a lot of trust to place in a species you just met," he finally said. "We trust your actions," Velthar replied. "You faced danger and showed restraint. You had power and chose mercy. You could have hidden your capabilities but were honest instead. These are not the actions of a species that will abuse authority." Lisa added her thoughts. "We accept this responsibility. But we also know we have much to learn. Human history is full of mistakes. Wars, atrocities, environmental destruction. We are trying to be better. But we are not perfect. No species is perfect," Krina said gently. "The Zithians avoided conflict for millennia. But we also avoided growth. We became stagnant, safe, but uncreative. Humanity brings something the galaxy needs: dynamic energy, willingness to take risks, courage to face problems directly." Danny spoke up. "Just remember, we are engineers, doctors, soldiers, not politicians. We might mess up the diplomatic stuff." Velthar's skin showed the color of amusement. "Honesty is the best diplomacy. The Galactic Council has too many politicians already. They will appreciate directness." The farewell took another hour. Humans and Zithians exchanged contact information, promised to stay in touch, made plans for future cooperation. By the time Velthar and his crew returned to the bright horizon, genuine friendship had formed. As the two ships prepared to depart in different directions, Morrison opened one final communication channel. "Captain Velthar, thank you for giving humanity a chance. For seeing past the Deathworld classification to who we actually are." Velthar appeared on screen. His 4 eyes showed warmth. "Thank you for showing me that strength and wisdom can grow from hardship. That veterans can become explorers. That dangerous species can be the safest friends. Travel well, Ambassador Morrison." "Travel well, Captain Velthar." The channel closed. Both ships activated their faster-than-light drives. The bright horizon jumped toward Scythian space. The Pathfinder jumped toward Galactic Council headquarters. On the Pathfinder's bridge, the crew sat in comfortable silence. They had just changed humanity's future. Not through conquest or force. Through demonstration of character. So, Danny said eventually, we are going to meet the Galactic Council. Any of you ever done formal diplomacy before? Does negotiating with warlords count? Chris asked. Probably not, Lisa answered. But we will figure it out. We always do. Morrison smiled at his crew. His friends, his fellow veterans who had chosen to turn their military experience into something positive. We represent more than just ourselves, he said. We represent every veteran who ever chose peace after experiencing war. Every person who ever tried to be better than their circumstances required. Every human who looks at the stars and sees opportunity instead of conquest. Tony pulled up the navigation display. The course to Galactic Council headquarters was laid in. 3 weeks travel time, he reported. Plenty of time to prepare our presentation. Or to worry about everything that could go wrong, Beth added with a smile. Kate laughed. We just fought off 3 pirate ships without breaking a sweat. I think we can handle a diplomatic meeting. Different kind of challenge, Morrison noted. But you are right. We have faced worse. The Pathfinder traveled through space at faster than light speed. Inside, 17 veterans continued their mission. Exploring. Learning. Representing humanity's best aspirations. They came from a death world. They had survived wars that would have destroyed other species. They possessed capabilities that frightened most of the galaxy, but they chose to use those capabilities for exploration, for protection, for building bridges between species instead of walls. The galaxy was about to meet humanity. Not as conquerors from a death world, not as warriors seeking new battles, but as explorers, protectors, and friends. Veterans who had seen the worst of what intelligent species could do to each other, and who had decided to show the galaxy something better. The Pathfinder continued its journey. Behind it, the bright horizon spread the word of humanity's true nature. Ahead, the Galactic Council waited to judge Earth's worthiness. But Morrison was not worried. His crew had already proven themselves in the way that mattered most. Not through demonstrations of force, but through choices made when force was available. They had shown mercy to enemies, friendship to strangers, restraint when anger was justified. These were the qualities that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. New worlds waited to be discovered. New species hoped to be met. New challenges prepared to test human resolve. And aboard the Pathfinder, 17 veterans smiled at the adventure ahead. They had survived Earth. They had survived war. They had survived everything the universe had thrown at them. Now they would show the universe what humans could build instead of destroy. What veterans could create instead of fight. What Deathworld species could offer when they chose cooperation over conquest. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly what humanity intended.